Why is she paying me $5 every night? I met her by accident. She lived 2 floors above me, but I had never really seen her before. Not properly. Just the occasional glimpse in the stairwell. Quiet, distant. Like she didn't belong there. That night, I was coming back late when I saw her standing outside my door. She didn't look surprised to see me. "You live here?" she said, like she already knew. I nodded, a little confused. "Yeah. Can I help you?" She hesitated for a moment, then reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, folded bill. "I need a favor," she said. I didn't respond right away. Something about the way she spoke, calm, almost rehearsed, felt off. "What kind of favor?" She held out the money. $5 every night. I almost laughed. "For what?" Her eyes shifted briefly, not to me, but to my door, and then back again. "Just sit in your room," she said quietly. "For a few hours, that's all." It sounded too simple, too easy. And that's what made me say yes. She didn't explain everything right away. When I asked what exactly I was supposed to do, she paused, like she was deciding how much to tell me. Then she stepped a little closer to my door, her eyes lingering on the handle for a second longer than necessary. "There's just one thing," she said. Her voice dropped slightly, not dramatic, not threatening, just careful. "Whatever you do, don't open the door." I frowned. "That's it." She nodded. "No matter what you hear, no matter how normal it sounds." Something about the way she said that made me hesitate. Up until that moment, it felt like a weird but harmless way to make a few dollars. Sit in my room, do nothing, get paid. Easy. But this sounded like a rule, and rules always have reasons. "Why?" I asked. For the first time, she didn't answer immediately. Her gaze shifted again, past me into my apartment, like she was checking something. Then she shook her head almost dismissively. "You don't need to know," she said. "Just don't open it." I should have said no right there, but I didn't. Because $5 for doing nothing still sounded worth it. And how bad could a closed door really be? The first night was almost disappointing. I sat on my bed, phone in hand, waiting for something to happen. The room felt normal. Too normal. The kind of quiet you get late at night when everyone else is asleep and the building finally settles. Every now and then I'd glance at the door. Closed. Still. Exactly how it should be. Hours passed. Nothing. No sounds, no movement, no reason for the rule she gave me. When morning came, I almost forgot about it entirely. Until she showed up again. Same time. Same calm expression. She didn't knock. Just waited. I opened the door and she handed me the $5 without a word. I looked at her, expecting something else. Some explanation. Anything. But she just nodded slightly and turned away. The second night was the same. Sit. Wait. Silence. By the third night, I stopped thinking about it. It wasn't strange anymore. It was routine. Easy money for doing absolutely nothing. And whatever hesitation I had in the beginning started to disappear. That's when I made my first mistake. I stopped paying attention. And that's when something finally did happen. By the fourth night, I started noticing things I hadn't before. Not big things, just details. The way the light in my room felt warmer than usual, like it didn't quite reach the corners. The way the shadows stayed thicker near the door, even when I moved around. I hadn't paid attention to any of that before. Why would I? It was just my room. Familiar. Safe. But now, it felt different. I found myself looking at the door more often. Not out of fear, just curiosity. Like I was waiting for something I couldn't name. The hallway beyond it was always dark. No windows, no light source. Just a long stretch of shadow that swallowed everything past the frame. I tried to remember if it had always been like that. I couldn't. That thought bothered me more than it should have. So I stood up, walked closer, and stopped just a few steps away from the door. It looked normal. Nothing unusual. Just wood. Just a handle. Just a door. And yet, I didn't reach for it. Not because of her rule, but because something in me didn't want to get any closer. Like the space on the other side wasn't empty anymore. It started so quietly, I almost missed it. I was lying on my bed, scrolling through my phone, barely paying attention to anything around me. The room felt the same as the previous nights. Still, predictable, safe. Then I heard it. A faint sound. Soft. Irregular. Like something brushing against the other side of the door. I froze, my thumb hovering over the screen. For a moment, I told myself it was nothing. Pipes in the walls. Someone upstairs. Old buildings make noise all the time. It happened again. Closer this time. Not a knock. Not yet. More like a slow, deliberate touch. My eyes moved to the door. Closed. Exactly as it should be. I sat up slowly, listening. Nothing. The silence returned, thick and absolute, like it had swallowed the sound completely. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding and leaned back again, forcing myself to relax. See? Nothing. Just imagination. Just late-night paranoia. But even as I tried to convince myself, one thought stayed in the back of my mind. Quiet, but persistent. That didn't sound like the building. It sounded like something right on the other side, waiting. The next night, I was ready for it. I sat on the edge of my bed, not even pretending to be distracted this time. My eyes kept drifting back to the door, waiting for that same quiet sound to return. For a long while, nothing happened. The silence stretched heavy and slow, almost convincing me that I had imagined it the night before. Then it came. A knock. Clear. Soft. But deliberate. I didn't move. Another knock followed, slightly louder this time, not urgent, not aggressive, just patient, like it knew I was listening. My chest tightened as I stared at the door. The sound wasn't coming from the walls, not from the hallway in general. It was coming from one exact place, right behind the door. Knock, knock. The rhythm wasn't normal, too slow, too uneven, like whoever or whatever was on the other side wasn't used to doing it. I felt a sudden urge to get up, to check, to prove it was nothing. My hand even twitched slightly, like my body was about to move on its own. Then I remembered her voice. Whatever you do, don't open the door. So I didn't. But the knocking didn't stop. It just kept going, waiting for me to answer. Oh, the knocking stopped. Not suddenly, not all at once. It faded, like whatever was on the other side had decided to change its approach. For a moment, there was nothing. Then I heard it. A voice. soft, careful, almost familiar. "Hey, it's me." I froze. My mind tried to place it, to match it to someone I knew. It wasn't distorted. It wasn't unnatural. If anything, it sounded completely normal. Too normal. "Can you open the door?" The words were gentle, almost casual, like someone asking for a small favor. And that's what made it worse. Because I knew that voice. Jessica. It sounded exactly like her. Same tone, same calm delivery. The same way she spoke when she first offered me the money. My body leaned forward before I even realized it. A reflex. A response to something familiar. Something safe. My hand lifted slightly. Then I stopped. Because something didn't make sense. She couldn't be there. She had told me to stay inside. She had told me not to open the door. So why would she be standing outside, asking me to do exactly that? The silence returned, and then the voice came again. Softer this time. Closer. "Please, just open it." I stayed where I was, my hand slowly lowered back to my side, every instinct fighting the urge to move. The voice outside the door had gone quiet again, but the silence felt different now, heavier, expectant. It was waiting, not for the door to open, for me to decide. I stared at the handle, trying to make sense of it. If that really was Jessica, then none of this made sense. She was the one who gave me the rule. She was the one paying me to follow it. So why would she break it? Unless it wasn't her. That thought settled in slowly, like something I already knew but didn't want to admit. The voice was perfect. Too perfect. Every word sounded right. Every pause placed exactly where it should be. But something underneath it felt wrong. Empty. Like it was copying her, not actually being her. I took a slow breath, forcing myself to stay still. That's when I finally understood what the rule was for. It wasn't about keeping something out. It was about stopping me from letting it in. And whatever was on the other side of the door was trying to sound like someone I trusted. The next morning, I didn't wait for her to come to me. I went upstairs. Her door looked exactly like mine. Plain, closed, nothing unusual about it. For a second, I almost turned back. Everything felt normal in daylight. Too normal. But I knocked anyway. No answer. I waited, then knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. Just as I was about to leave, the door opened slightly. Jessica stood there, looking more tired than I had ever seen her. She didn't seem surprised. "You heard it," she said. Not a question. A statement. I nodded slowly. "It sounded like you," I said. She closed her eyes for a moment, like she had expected that. "It always does," she replied quietly. My chest tightened. "What is it?" She hesitated, then looked past me, down the hallway, toward the stairs. "It knocks every night," she said, "but it doesn't want the door." I frowned. "Then what does it want?" Her voice dropped, almost to a whisper. "It wants you to believe it's someone you trust." A long silence followed. Then she added, "And once you do, you open the door for it." That night, I almost didn't go back. I stood outside my own door for a long time, keys in my hand, staring at the handle like it belonged to someone else. Everything Jessica told me replayed in my head, over and over. It wants you to believe it's someone you trust. I finally went inside, closed the door, locked it, and waited. The silence didn't last long. Knock. Slow. Familiar. I didn't move. Knock. Closer this time. Heavier. Then the voice came. Soft. Careful. Hey, it's me. Jessica. Exactly the same. My grip tightened on the edge of the bed. I told you not to open it, the voice said gently, but it's okay now. I stared at the door. Something was wrong. Jessica had never said that. Not once. Then the handle moved, slowly, quietly, turning from the other side. My breath caught in my throat because I hadn't unlocked it. The knocking stopped. The voice disappeared. But the handle kept moving. And in that moment, I understood the one thing she never told me. It doesn't wait for you to open the door, not forever.